Welcome to a truly special episode of Geni's Way. Today, we're not just celebrating a milestone, we are celebrating a year of growth, transformation, and the incredible power of community. I'm thrilled to be joined by a fantastic group of podcasting friends who have walked this journey with me. Over the past year, we've learned invaluable lessons from embracing our messy moments to realizing the power of collaboration and accountability. Today, we'll shine some light on those lessons, share insights, and reflect on the experiences that have shaped us in our shows. Get ready for an honest, uplifting, and inspiring conversation that is all about finding our unique paths, supporting one another, and dreaming big. Okay, let's do it.
I'm beyond excited. Welcome back to Geni's Way. My excitement is just above the scale 0 to 10. I guess about 25, you would say. I'm so happy to introduce my friends and my podcasting buddies, creators that we're journey together, and entrepreneurs. No particular order. Maybe I'll start in alphabetical order, maybe not. Elena Perrier, yay! Carolee Garrison, yay! Mary Epp, yay! And Jan Underwood. Oh my God, ladies. This last 12 months been such an incredible journey. It's the journey of experimentation, our journey of creation, journey of supporting each other. And it's been almost a year. It's been a year. And I said, what can we do together to bring our collective wisdom? And we all decided that we're going to celebrate together. And here we are. Let's do some celebration. Carolee, help us out. Musician, songwriter.
Yeah. I don't know, like celebrate good times. Come on. That's what comes to my mind.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Come on. Let's do it. We got this together. And let's do it. It is better together. No, nothing could be better than traveling together and creating together. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the last 12 months, and I want to let you guys answer, that it is difficult, nearly impossible to know everything and journey it alone. When you have someone that you can count on, someone you can celebrate with, someone you can cry on their shoulder, someone to spread the love with, your journey, it's not the same. We're here for each other, and we're spreading love, and we're inspiring and empowering together. That brings me to one of the important questions. What did we learn? What did you ladies learn? One of the most important lessons over the last 12 months of this journey. Who would like to start? Let's roll.
Well, I can go.
Do it messy. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Take a
For
chance.
Carolee, I would guess it will be show up messy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Show up messy. Take a chance. Just see what happens.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I learned.
What happens if we don't show up?
What did you say?
What happens if we don't show up?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The biggest thing I learned is you just have to show up. If you have a dream and you want to make it happen, you got to show up. You got to be messy. You got to play. Otherwise, you don't move forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it in collaboration, I think, is one of the key ingredients to success when you're not doing it alone. I mean, each of us have our own shows, but we're not doing it alone because we on purpose choose to connect once a month to say, hey, how's it going? What's the good, the bad, the ugly? And we go, you too? Oh, I feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And we cheerlead each other on.
Yeah, it's been really great.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my journey's been...
Ladies, how do you feel the last 12 months change you as a person, as a creator?
Who did you ask?
let's start with Mayor. How did it change you as a person and a creator?
It gave, over the last year, playing with all of you, playing with podcasts. That's how I showed up to play. Just pretending that I was a podcaster. And
Carly?
because, yeah.
How did it change you as a person and creator?
So I feel like my journey was maybe a little different because I'd already had my podcast for a couple years. So this is year 3. So this is going to mark my 3-year anniversary of my show because I started mine in 2021. And so this was not like a brand new show for me. This was an up-leveling of my current show. And what that really meant for me was deep diving into who am I? Why am I doing this show? And really, what are my superpowers that I'm bringing to the world and how can they serve people in a greater way? And what I realized with my show was that when I first started it, it was really about me and me needing this really desperate, needy energy to share my story and to get it out there. And eventually I realized that, I did that part. I shared my story enough that I don't need to do that anymore. And now I can kind of move on into how what I've learned can help other people. And that was the way in which I transformed over the last year, was to make that pivot, make that switch. And it's been amazing. It's been really life-changing to see that difference in me, to go from, again, the needy energy that was really kind of self-centered to this service-based energy of how can what I learned serve other people, which is so much based in what are my superpowers and how can they help other people. And I rebranded my show and I changed a lot of things about it. I changed the way I asked questions. I changed the way that I looked at every part of my life, because to me, podcasting is it's life. It's a reflection of my life, because I'm literally talking about what's happening in my life and what I'm learning on a day-by-day basis. And it's all reflected in my show. And so it just has meant so much to me to be on this journey. And it all shows up in what is in my podcast on a weekly basis.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Jen, how did it change you as a person and a creator and an entrepreneur?
I would say the first thing is it gave me permission to not have to pick one thing. I am a very multi-passionate person. And at first, when I started, I thought, well, I've just got to do a podcast and stick to that and not do anything else. And the more I did it, the more I felt permission and felt other people supporting me doing multiple things and having multiple ventures. So it actually increased my creativity. And then I've called the podcast portion introvert therapy for me, because I'm a major introvert. And it forced me to get outside of that. And like Mare said, do it as a community, because you can't, I could have podcasted completely alone, but that would have been really boring and probably would have failed after one. I would have stopped after one episode. But joining in with other people and, like Mare said, just being in community with other women who were doing the same thing was so inspirational for me, because when I see one of you move, then I move. When I see one of you up level, then I up level. It's like I follow your lead. You inspire me. You support me. The crying on your shoulder kind of thing, that happened a lot over the last year with each other. And so, yeah, it was introvert there, because I really did learn you cannot do this alone. You won't get very far.
Can I add on to that for a second?
Yes.
I swear to you, every single day, I'm telling my husband something else I learned from somebody who was on my podcast or somebody else's podcast I heard, or even somebody who was on my podcast who told me about somebody who was on their podcast, or like the networking that happens when you have a podcast is amazing. It really breaks you out of your shell.
Mhm.
It really
Mhm.
helps you to realize that the world is so much bigger than you and your own little bubble. And like that's been probably the biggest transformation in my life, has been realizing that I'm not alone and I don't have to be alone
Yeah.
in my journey, and how much I've just
And you're
and
not.
yeah, and
All the people that loves you and support
yes,
you,
well,
every one of
and
us.
most of my transformation has come from learning things from other people and their journeys.
Absolutely. Elena, we're going to start next question with you. Don't feel left out.
I'm good. Mhm.
Your biggest way that you've been changed by the last 12 months as a person and creator?
I think it goes back to taking chances and allowing myself to explore a completely different creative practice. So, podcasting, so brand new, like everything was brand new. From recording to editing to uploading to, creating the content, spacing, when do, how do I want to sequence shows, like everything was new. And it gave me an opportunity to grow creatively in a different way and to develop technical skills. And then, as everyone else has said, and I'd like to just tag on, definitely the connections with people. It's been so heartwarming to have these different connections with all of you in the pod. We can support each other and encourage each other. And that has been a huge, huge gift. And then the people who come on the show, I'm just always amazed by their stories and their generosity for sharing their talents and skills or experience or heartache and what has come of that. And I think we find ourselves in each other's stories and have that deep connection of humanity that's so beautiful. And podcasting is the perfect vehicle for that. And it's been wonderful.
That's so well said. Elena, we're going to start next question with you, and you'll know why in just a second. Here comes your favorite question. What helps you to behave boldly when you feel scared, when you don't feel bold, when you don't feel brave? What do you do? How do you get there?
Yeah, I think, the podcast's name, Women Behaving Boldly, my podcast, it came out not because I'm such a bold, daring person, but it was sort of like that
Really?
push. Yeah,
Couldn't
that
tell?
push to kind of like, okay, you can do this, in some ways, yes, but in some ways, no. So if I'm not feeling bold or courageous, a couple of things are my go-tos. One, journaling and doing what I call personal pep talks. And I know we talked about that, which that's going to be coming up soon on my show and Substack. So personal pep talks, just like writing things out, like, okay, atta girl, you can do it. Having that fierce self-compassion, to quote, who said that? She has a book, Dr. Kristen Neff. She talks about having fierce self-compassion, and sometimes you have to kick your own butt. And so that's good too, giving yourself.
I think I have to kick my own butt just about every day.
Exactly. Like that you go, to exercise or something, like there are all these things.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is my girlfriends. Like I couldn't get through life without the gift of having good girlfriends and having heart-to-heart conversations, and sometimes just sharing with them. They're available and wonderful to encourage and inspire me when I'm not feeling my best. And that's something I'm really grateful for. And you all have been that for me too. And I can say it's just been wonderful to have that support.
Sending love right now. Jan, what is it for you? How do you behave boldly? What do you do?
Well, the biggest thing really is the inspiration of the others in my worldview that are doing similar things. And I watch them and I'm like, okay, they took that leap. They took that step. I know her personally. I can do it too. That's probably the biggest one. And then the second one is something I said earlier about Like if I don't move forward, I won't make my dreams happen. So I have my why, which is I want to show my kids a mom that is living her dreams, showing up messy, not being perfect, even when I'm embarrassed, when I'm scared, when I don't know how it's going to turn out, I do it anyway. And so I've got my why that's really, really strong. So those would be the top two for me.
How about Carolee?
Ooh, I love this question. To me, being bold is all about showing up outrageously authentically.
Are you saying it has to do with your muscles being bold?
No, it has to do with saying the thing that you're afraid people will judge you for. So like
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that.
Yep.
How do we deal with other people
so like
judging us, Carolee?
my last mini-sode, I totally had the craziest day and I forgot that I needed to record a mini-sode that day. So it was literally 10:30 at night and I needed to have my mini-sode ready for the next day, and I was so angry. Like I hated everyone in the world and I was fuming mad. My son had a giant school project that he didn't start until like 10:15 that was due the next day. It was just thing after thing after thing. I'd spent 3 hours on the phone with the pharmacy that day. Like everything had gone wrong that day and I was in a terrible mood. I was screaming at everyone in my family, and my husband got in the shower and I realized that I had not done my stupid mini-sode that day. So I came down to my basement and I got on my phone and hit my voice memo app and I was like, all right, here's my mini-sode. It's 10:30 at night before this comes out the next day. And my question is, okay, but why? Why am I so mad? I'm yelling at my family, and I just talked through the reality of my life, and I was like, okay, it's not external circumstances. It's because of something going on inside me. It's because I haven't taken good enough care of myself this week. Oh, dang it. It's because I haven't been resting enough. It's because I haven't taken enough space for myself. That's why I am just livid with the world right now. It's not because of all the things. And so podcasting to me is so therapeutic. And what I see happening with this authenticity thing, like a lot of people call me out and go, how can you be so outrageously authentic? Radically authentic. That's the word. Radically authentic. That's a really good word.
Radically authentic. I love it.
And it's because people see themselves in it. They go, oh yeah, I also yell at my kids when I am,
yeah, they can relate to you. They know you're real. Right. You're talking about real life.
And like I had this really funny instance. Like I'm teaching makeup at the college right now, and I was showing.
We're so excited about that. That you're doing.
I was showing a student my notes so she could take photos of it, and I had another page of notes that I had not yet written, all nice and neat and pretty. And the reason I write it all nice and neat and pretty is so that I can then read it when I'm like lecturing. But I had a whole nother page that I had not yet translated from the scribbles that I take from note taking, because they are not neat and pretty when they come out. They look awful. And it was covered in burrito because I had, dripped burrito down the page and then wiped it off. And it's in showing that to her that she was like, oh my gosh, this is so real.
Talking about showing up messy.
With burrito that had dripped down the page. And I was like, yep, there you go. If you want to take a picture of that, go for it.
Yes.
It's in the showing up real. People go, oh my gosh, you're a human just like me. I respect you so much more for being boldly real, radically authentic, because we just can relate to each other so much better.
And we do. We relate on the human level.
Yeah.
We don't relate to each other as an entrepreneur, which we are. We are creators and we are entrepreneurs, but we relate to each other as humans on a human level.
When we dare to show up
brings
messy.
Me to Mare. Messy brings me to Mare. Mare loves to talk about related on a human level. So what does being boldly means to you, Mare? And since you lost, we're going to start you first for the next question.
Okay. When I am not feeling my best self and need a jolt of boldness, remembering of who I really am, I send a bat signal, which for me is a little dragon. And I don't have to have words, because when I'm in the place of not being connected to my boldness, it's when I really need my friends, when I really need all of you to say, hey,
more love. There we go.
your
Sending more love now.
podcast has been, viable for almost a year now. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you a year ago, as an example? But I can send my bat signal. I can get the help. And then for me personally, I ask someone to read their living intentions list with me. One, so that I can read mine and be witnessed for who I'm saying I want to show up in the world as. And in return, I'm also listening to somebody else's. And Kirli, I must give kudos to you and yours to music, because I will listen to yours if I can't connect to somebody in the moment of my pity party. I can turn yours on and listen to it, and just that fuels my own boldness. So thank you.
There's something about music that just like instantly like flips a switch in our brains.
It does. I don't think I can live a day without music, Carolee. Music is life. Music is everything. Music is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What about you, Geni?
What about me? Being bold is not comparing myself to others. It's taking continuously steps. Thanks for asking, by the way. Doing things that I've never done before. So, for example, now I'm like, how can I do something outside the box? What can I do? What can I create that I haven't created before, that I haven't done before? It's what we're doing right now. I said, okay, I've never done interview with more than one person. You'll know that. But I said, I want to do it because I want the experience. But it's not just experience for me. It's the experience for all of you. Because when we got on the call, I didn't know how we're going to do it. And as we started, as you see, I figured out the pattern was the easiest way to include everybody. So it's experimentation, not being afraid to experiment. I think that's where being bold it is for me. Like I started doing in-person, outdoor interviews, something that I've never done before, getting outside of the box, safety box. If you don't feel scared, you're not growing. That's what being bold to me. And I hope everybody can input some of that, a little bit of that every single day. When you wake up in the morning, you ask yourself, what can I create? What can I experiment today that I haven't done before? There is no failure. And we all talked about it. There is no failure. There's lessons that we learn. And we continue to evolve and create. But if you don't step outside of the box, you don't know what you can experiment, who you can meet, what you can create. That's what being bold it is to me. Thank you for asking.
I love that.
So as I promised, since Mare was last, I'm going to ask her first now. Mare, what are you aware now? Because you are a part of our accountability group that you were not aware of that a year ago. And why did you choose to be with us when the class has long over?
Great question. It's what I do. It's how I live my life. I live my life in connection. I live my life choosing to invite people into connection. Accountability groups for me in whatever class I'm taking or whatever experience I'm having in life, I have found that accountability groups help me expand my human experience that in ways in not just one direction, like in all 360 directions, because each person that I'm in connection with invites me to level up, whether it's conscious or not. It's an invitation for me to level up who I'm being. And that's what's happened in this group. I'm still podcasting. there were 450 people in our podcasting class collectively. I don't know how many of them are still podcasting. What I'm aware of
But
is
we are.
Yeah, but we are. And
Mhm.
even in our pod, right? Not everyone continued to play during the class. And some of them played a couple of times and then self-selected out. I know 2 of them are still podcasting. I don't know about the others.
Mhm.
What I am aware of is that the 5 of us have made a commitment to each other to continue to show up once a month, to show up on each other's podcasts, to show up in the in-between moments of our accountability meeting, to be there for
And
each
thank you
other,
for that,
to be
Mayor.
cheerleaders.
You were there for me, and I really appreciate it. So does the rest of you. But, Mayor had a special place in my heart. She knows why. So does all of you.
Mhm.
So, yes, that's why for me.
Let's see. Let's do Jan. Why are you still showing up, and how choosing being part of accountability is important to you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is the opposite of what Mare said in terms of how I used to live my life. I, as an introvert, didn't have communities of women. I sort of avoided it. And even today, when I get overwhelmed, I hibernate and I withdraw from everyone. And the great thing about being parts of these groups is not only do you not let me withdraw from you completely because you're there and you're present for each other and for me, but I don't want to. Like when I see you all texting and posting and sharing with each other what you're up to, it's like it pulls me out of whatever funk I can sometimes get into. So it's just been so, yeah,
All of us. Like I
Mhm.
said, every day I have
yeah,
those moments, just about
yeah.
every day. But then that's when you come and say, oh, well, if you know your why, I don't remember which one of you just said. I think Carol
Mhm.
Lee, if you know your why, then you wake up in the morning, you'll continue to create.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the
Mhm.
thing. Anytime I feel like I'm in a funk, it's like each of you somehow, in some way, either from me thinking about you, or if I do send a text out, because I'm a
Mhm.
member of a couple of different women's groups like this, and we just pull each other out, we lift each other up, we encourage each other. I would not be where I am today if it weren't for this group and the other couple of groups that I'm a part of that are like this, where it's women supporting each other, like you said, Geni, cheerleading each other, being there for each other, listening to each other. I did my first live on Instagram and I was absolutely terrified, and I had people show up for me.
Mhm.
I
I was
wouldn't have done
there.
it if you
I
guys
know you
hadn't been
did
there
it. Yeah,
cheering me
yeah.
on. Yay!
Woo-hoo.
I wouldn't have done it. I would have
Woo-hoo.
so I would not be where I am today without all of you.
Oh, thank you. Love. Elena, how is it for you?
Um, so connecting with all of you has really helped with the accountability piece, as Mare said, and then the support and understanding it. And from everything from emotional to technical to logistics, like all these avenues have been explored as a group. And I'm so grateful. And another thing, I took a break for several months, and all of you
And
were
Woody will say it's okay to take a break. Don't stress away.
And that was actually kind of scary to take a break because the podcast was doing really well. And I thought, am I crazy for stopping it now? And I thought, no.
Yes, you're crazy, but that's a totally different story altogether. We're all crazy in our own ways. Don't you all agree?
True. Very true. Yeah. But you guys were so great and so supportive. And so I think that having the group of people who are also podcasting, we have our network, we help encourage each other. It's definitely inspiring. And I love hearing what each person is doing. Like, what are you up to? What do you do? And hearing what's happening with your life and in your shows. So, yeah, I love the group.
What is it for you, What is it for you, Carolee? Thank you, Elena. We love you. You know that.
You guys like feed my soul. And the truth is that like I have other groups.
Oh.
I was in a second pod for this course and we lasted like not very long. We had hardly anyone show up because I was in a VIP pod. And then like I had a whole other group for a different thing and we're still kind of meeting and I find myself going, do we have to? Like, I don't really wanna, like, the energy's just not there. But with this group, like, our energy is just, like, every single time we meet, I'm like, it's just so beautiful.
Inspired, right? You leave inspired
so
and wanted to
fulfilling.
have and do more.
And just,
Yeah.
it's a gift to know you guys. It really is.
Oh, it's a gift to know you and Mary and Elena and Jen. It's a gift. Thank you, Carolee.
Likewise.
So well said. Well, Carolee so does all of us. Carolee have a gift of creating and the gift for speaking the words that just resonate with my heart. Thank you, Carolee. Since you went last this time, okay. So here's a question from one of the listeners. I said she's one of my friend. She's not doing podcasting, and I asked her, what would you want to know from my besties that we do also have their own podcast? And here's her question. Carolee, your turn. Rebuilding your self-worth at any age. And how do you keep your self-worth if your self-worth was attached to your 9 to 5? And now you no longer have 9 to 5 and you need to rebuild your self-worth at any age. How would you go about starting it?
Oh, rebuilding your self-worth is so like important to me. That's like one of my favorite things to talk about because it's the foundation. And one of the things that I say all the time that's just, it's like the key to all the things is you have to know that there's this dualistic nature to life. On the one hand, you are infinitely worthy. You are so like you have this divine essence in you. You are so just no matter what you look like, no matter what you've done, no matter all of the things, like you just have just this core essence of value. But on the other hand, because of that, you get to grow. You get to constantly become better. And it's in that duality that people find a lot of conflict because a lot of times they think that you can't grow if you don't find something wrong with yourself, but it's actually the opposite. You can't grow unless you first know how valuable you are. And that's why you have to start with the self-worth piece. And it starts, I think, with seeing something you've done right. We spend so much time focusing on the ways that we haven't measured up to that ideal. And
Bingo.
yeah, instead of
Bingo. Remember the moments and the time you did something right. Bingo. Love it.
Well, and we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to other people on their journey. In comparison, like it literally cannot exist because there's no way that you could ever be the same as another person. You do not have the same DNA, the same genes, or the same journey. Like there is no equivalent comparison ever between two humans.
We're unique. One of the slogans for my show, your uniqueness is your superpower.
Yeah.
How do you infuse that uniqueness in everything?
Yeah.
I know you do because you're a great creator.
Thanks. Well, and one of the things, and we can totally not get into this, but one of the ways that really helped me to realize like my uniqueness and like what my superpowers are and the way that I stand out in this world was starting to study human design. Like it was really eye-opening to me. It helped me see myself from kind of an outside view instead of being so internalized and in my head all the time. Going,
That's
here's the way that I compare myself to other people, where it was here's this external view of like, oh, here's some of my superpowers, and then I could start to see those as they were reflected in my real life. Like, oh, you're really good at organizing ideas, and I was like, oh, I kind of am. I actually am kind of really good at that. Oh, now I'm seeing the evidence in my life of how that shows up, and I'm like, oh, I see it now. Sometimes having that external perspective and then we can look for evidence of it is like mind-blowingly helpful.
Thank you. That's awesome answer. I knew you'd be the best person to answer that question first. Mayor, what are your thoughts on rebuilding self-worth at any age. How do you do that?
I do it by getting in touch with what are my top 50 living intentions. I get clear on what I want. I share it with others. I invite others to tell me what theirs are. And I get the support. I get the, it isn't that I don't have a human experience. I absolutely am a human experience.
Really?
It means that, it's a roller coaster ride. But because I've been practicing my living intentions for about 30 years now, I have the process. I know what to do. I become conscious of having a low moment, and I reach out. I get the help, and I get really clear on who I'm being in this moment. And if I'm having a pity party, or I need to be plugged into fear and have a little tantrum of fear, I allow myself to do that, and then go, okay, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I do?
Being afraid and do it anyways? Is that what you're saying? Really?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is that when I become aware that I am in a human moment,
Mm-hmm.
that I choose to raise my own vibration to love and ask for help within my community.
And I have to interrupt. If you're somebody who's listening and you're like, living intentions, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. You have to go listen to Mary's podcast, because this is like utterly life-changing work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carolee.
Let's see.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Elena?
So I think it's a great question, because I feel like we often get tied up with our role and titles in so many ways. And in fact, the first thing we do in the United States, typically when you meet somebody, is, oh, what do you do for a living?
What do you do?
What do you do?
So very well said. I'm so tired of that question. What do you do?
Yeah. What do you do? Where do you work? Instead of
you all want to hear something funny. What I say quite often, I say, I just have fun and just hang out with people.
And then they look.
And they're just gonna get them in their truck puzzle. Look,
exactly.
Okay.
What about like, who are you?
They're like, what is this person? Yeah. So I think that's a really profound question. Then if she, getting to a certain age and maybe having a career change, and then it's like, who am I now? What's next for me? And I think it's definitely an opportunity to dive in and explore, and try to look at that lens of successes and joys and happiness, the things that you've gone through that have brought you peace and wonder and delight, and look at that and say, is there anything now maybe that I could do? How can I bring some of that back into my life? Because if there's a chance of opening that box in a way that's inspiring and finding something new and a new thing to discover and to check out, I think that that's a great thing to do. And as far as the self-worth piece, of course, we're going to feel like crap sometimes and have doubts. And I know
part of the human experience, as Mary said, right, Elena?
Yeah, exactly. The human experience. And we feel, down in the dumps. And it's okay, because we're all going to feel that way sometimes. And I know I certainly have. And I've looked at my stack of mistakes instead of my stack of joys and experiences and gratitude and wonder. And then sometimes the dark space seems heavier. So I find if I try to flip it by dealing with the positives more, trying to look for gratitude, and also having the support of a good group, it's paramount to that change, and being able to see sometimes opportunities where I couldn't see them. And if someone doesn't have that group, then I would suggest to start searching out podcasts, start searching out books, start searching out classes, anything that piques your interest and stimulates you in a positive way, to check it out. And to know, just like what Cara Lee said too, you are innately worthy, and you are innately wonderful and beautiful and talented and creative. And each person has all those gifts. And I fully, fully believe that. And sometimes they're just, dusty, and we have to rediscover them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dusty. Dust yourself off.
That's right. Dust yourself off.
Reinvent yourself.
Yes.
Couldn't say it any better. You just dust yourself off, find a community of people that inspire you, bring that energy up, and create with them. If you don't know what to do, find that help. Now, can you be as lucky as we all are to be able to find yourself? Maybe, maybe not. But if you don't look, you're not going to find that community to belong to.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
How about you, Jen? How do you rebuild your self-worth and start that new chapter at 88?
This is going to sound a little morbid, but we die at the end of this game. And that's what got me started on my podcast. That's why my podcast is called Shake Me Awake, because I woke up in my 40s and realized I wasn't living the life I wanted to live. I wasn't showing up with all my gifts and my passion and my creativity and my intuition. And I had all this magic inside me that I was holding down so that I could show up in my 9-to-5 as who they were paying me to be. But the thing is, when you get out of your 9-to-5, it's like you realize, wait a minute, I've been showing up as this person that they told me I had to be successful at my 9-to-5. And when you get out of your 9-to-5, it's a little scary, because you're like, wait, I can be anything? I can be anyone? What? Who am I?
Yeah.
So you do have to go a little bit on a journey. And the last couple years for me has been a journey of self-discovery. And I would highly recommend, like Cara Lee said, listen to Mare, because part of that journey was discovering what I want out of my life. That starts with living intentions, and that's what Mare specializes in. And then, like Elena said, building a community around me, that was the next biggest thing. I couldn't have done it without that community support. And like Cara Lee said, figure out who your radically authentic self is, because if you're going to spend the next half of your life, 20 years of your life, whatever it is, showing up and trying to, claim your life, claim your worth, you got to figure out who you are at the core and who you want to show up in the world as, and who you want to surround yourself with, and what you want to spend your precious time doing, because we die at the end of this game.
Wow, that's amazing, Miss Sad. There's no much to add to that one, my friend.
I'm very passionate about that
Since you
question.
were the last one, Yeah, I saw noticed.
Isn't it one of the
And why do you think?
Isn't it one of the 5 biggest regrets of the dying? Like not showing up as you.
And why do you think it took a while until you got into your 40s? You decided to go on a journey. Why do you think? What was that?
For me, it was because I started writing a letter to my son about how I wanted him to live his life and what I wanted him to know about what I felt about my life. And then I was like, well, crap, I'm telling him I want him to live authentically and do what he loves and have passion and not waste a second of his life. And I wasn't doing any of that. I was working a 9-to-5 where I was safe and I was contained in a literal basement my whole career. And I grew up in the industrial culture where I was an A+ student, and if I didn't get an A+, I thought I was bad and wrong and not good at anything.
Oh my God, same here.
And so many of us, I try to talk to my kids about that. I'm like, look, just because your art teacher doesn't give you an A+ on this project, it doesn't mean you're not an artist. It's heartbreaking that we
That is incredible.
live in this culture where we rely from the age of like 4 we rely on other people to tell us what we are and aren't good at. And that is heartbreaking. And then when you wake up in your 40s and you think you're not good at anything, then you ask that question, where's my self-worth? Who am I? What am I good at? Especially if you no longer have somebody paying you to be good at a certain thing. So yeah, it's a beautiful question. And I think it is the question everybody should be asking themselves.
Yeah. Confidence.
So that was a question from a listener. Yeah. Another question from a listener. I guess we'll start with you, Jen, because you were the last one. What advice would you offer to your 20 years old self, reflecting back on your life, on your mistakes and your success? Anywhere, just kind of a reflection. What would you tell yourself? I think you kind of briefly touch on it, to go on a journey to discovering who you are. What else would you want to add?
Show up as who you are, discover who you are, show up as that. And that may take trials along the way, trying something and that didn't really work for me. That's okay. I would say, yeah.
It is okay. Because about learning who you are and discovering what you love to do. How else would you know?
And that's what I would say is just start thinking, what sounds like something fun for me? What would I enjoy right now to experience or to, try out, and just do the damn thing. Don't care what anybody else thinks about you. Just do it. Seize the moment. Have fun.
Do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing.
You have to do the damn thing.
Okay.
I will quote you on that. I'll say, Jan, Andrew would say, do the damn thing, y'all. Yeah. And Carolee will say, use your creativity and rediscover yourself. Right, Carolee?
Yeah, I think actually, so my 20-year-old self was like just at the beginning of a decade of, right, yeah, my 20s were a decade of trauma and just like a whole lot of stuff coming up. So like I look at 20-year-old me and I'm like, ooh, you got stuff coming, girl. Yikes. And so what I would say to 20-year-old me is, let me introduce you to some much bigger ideas that you just have no idea about. Let me introduce you to like Kathy Heller and to some like big ideas, because that snowball effect changes everything that you know about life and about who you are and about what's possible. Yeah.
That's so well said. And Mayor will say, get clear on your living intentions.
Yes, I would say that.
And
being a 20-year-old is a great place to start, because if I knew in my early 20s what my dreams were, I think I would have made some different decisions in my life. I think I would have allowed myself more adventure. I think
but that's okay, isn't it?
I might have dated more.
Ooh! We might want to hear more about that one.
Yeah, right? And I definitely would have...
Is there a vile part there somewhere we don't know? Just kidding.
It's part of the human experience.
Yeah.
I will just say that. And I was in my 20s to that point, Geni. I was living through the rules of my religion. I was living through the rules of my family ancestral rules. I was living through the rules of education. I was living through the rules of my society, the country I live in. I was bumping up against all of that, and I think, Jen, it was, as you said, what other people's expectations of who I ought to be. I took that to heart, and I was
feel like it's kind of was boxing you in, Mayor. You felt like it was all boxing you in, and not allowing you to experiment.
In my 20s, I wasn't aware that there was a box. It was unconscious. And so my advice to my 20-year-old self would be, what else is possible? What else is possible?
Right.
What else is possible? So that I was open to searching for what else is possible, and not only because all those rules were unconscious, and quite frankly, I'm sure some of them still are.
Mm-hmm.
So in the claiming what I want, my 50 living intentions, and sharing them with all of you and others, and listening to yours, I am able to say to each of you, what else is possible in your podcast journey? What's next for you in your podcast journey? Where do you want this to go? What's in your wildest dreams about being a podcaster? Is your
dreams
book coming out of your podcasts? Because with ChatGPT, you can just take all your podcasts that you've already done, pop it into ChatGPT or AI, AI
Chatty,
and
put it into Chatty,
and your book begins to get revealed. So, are the messages from your podcast now going to go into a book form or a course form or a class form? What else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? That's what I would invite my 20-year-old to engage my entire life in asking my own self that question, so that I am going into what I don't know that I don't know, and expanding my human experience. So that's what I would invite my 20-year-old to do.
Wow. What else is possible? And Elena probably will say, if I have to guess, it's okay to take a break and don't feel guilty about it.
True. Although, I don't know, my 20-year-old self had a lot of fun. I was kind of wild in some ways, and
we didn't know we had a wild in our group there. Okay.
I just loved having fun. And I would say, to tag on to kind of what Mare said, dream bigger. And I would say dream bigger, 20-year-old, dream deeper, dream wider. Like, go for it. And try to shut down some of those other voices that might be holding you back. And I'm looking at my 20-year-old self, where I wasn't going and exploring different things because, certain family views or friends and other things that I did explore. And when people were telling me, no, don't do it, like, why are you even bothering doing that? And I don't regret it one single bit for having done it at all, and so dream bigger, dream deeper, dream wider, explore, and see what comes up for you. And just, it's the perfect age to do all of those things and to experience wonder and to take the opportunity to learn as much as you can about yourself and about life, what you like, what you don't like, and have some foundational values that you developed.
That's so well said, because it's kind of the same was for me, Elena, in respect that in my 20s, all I was like worrying about, I was too disciplined, if there are such things, going to school, studying, want to be that A+ student. Of course, graduated was magna cum laude, and English wasn't even my first language, coming from Ukraine. And how difficult it is to graduate. It was magna cum laude. Do you all know how I graduated magna cum laude? Because I was a part of the accountability group, and everyone that was graduated was honors. Yeah. So being part of the accountability, I know from long time ago, it was so important. But what I would add, besides being disciplined and being part of the A players, as we say, I don't think I experimented enough exploring other things besides going to school and being an A student. So I think Jan said that you teaching your son that it's okay not to have an A+. B is okay too, as long as you're enjoying your life and experimenting and exploring. So just combining some of your answers, that kind of what I would say. it's okay to get a B, as long as you don't have to be like overachiever. However, you need to have some time to explore, to learn about yourself and life in general. That's what I would have advised my 20-year self, because I was just school. Do. How about some more fun, more exploration, more experimentation? So I'm doing it now.
Yeah. Can I add something here? I feel like us now
Yes.
is such an example for us then and for like the 20-year-olds now. Like when I was 20, I had my daughter a month into being 20. I had my oldest a month into being 20. I'd been married for a year and a half, and I was in college, and like now, and what I needed was an example that all those huge passionate dreams I had were actually possible as a mom, because I didn't think that was possible, which is why I mentioned Kathy Heller, because she was a singer with little kids. Like she was starting her podcast with little kids, and I didn't think that was possible. So even though I had those huge dreams, I was like, oh, I can't do it now that I'm a mom. Like I wanted to be a mom, but I didn't think that those two dreams could coexist. And so now we have the opportunity in our lives to be the example that you can have a 9-to-5 and have a fun, fulfilling life, or you can, all your dreams can exist and you can be a mom, or whatever it is. Like you get to be the example now for your 20-year-old self, or for the 20-year-olds now that are growing up. Like it's possible to go to college and have fun. It's possible to do all the things that you want to do.
Let's see. Self-care. Who do we go? Self-care. Mayor, why is self-care so important? Why can't we not live another day without pouring some love on yourself, pouring in a cup and loving yourself, doing things that's inspire our own soul?
Self-care allows you to show up as a better human. And that's one of my overarching goals, is to continuously show up being a better version of myself, contributing to humanity. Self-care is the fuel. It's like eating well and exercising and sleeping. Self-care encompasses all of those pieces and allows me to show up as a better human. And that is my intention.
Awesome. Jan, what self-care is for you and why is it important?
Yeah, I think it mixes what Mare and Carolee both just said. It goes back to Carolee saying you can do this and this and this and this, but in order to do those things, you have to refuel yourself. So that's where the self-care comes in for me. Is I get exhausted, I get overwhelmed, I get peopled out, and my self-care is spending time alone. Reading a book or just having quiet time by myself where I don't have any sensory. There's no sensory stuff going on. There's nobody talking to me. There's no loud noises. That's a version of self-care for me. And that allows me to then show back up and do all the things I want to do.
Giving the time to yourself is so critically important. What about you, Elena?
Yeah, I feel like I'm echoing the same sentiments here, but it's, we hear it over and over and over again. If we want to serve and help others, you have to take care of yourself first and have some.
What does that mean to you, take care of yourself?
Well, sometimes it's going to bed early and just trying to get extra sleep, or just get sleep, because I'm at this age where sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm hot and then I don't go back to sleep for 2 hours. So if I go to bed earlier, then it kind of compensates for my, midnight wandering. So extra sleep is a good one. Diet, getting fresh air. And Jen, I was nodding in agreement with you, because I definitely need that quiet time too. And like no stimulation around, and I gotta have my journal or my book or my cup of tea, and just chill the heck out for a while.
I know. I know when you said quiet time, you know who I was thinking about, Carolee.
Oh yeah.
It's a perfect segue. Go ahead, Carolee.
My favorite quote comes from Frozen, and I think I say this on every episode of my podcast because it's so important. And it is people make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. And one of the things that we don't realize is that we have constant, never-ending stressors to our nervous system. Literally, the lights that I have around me so that I like look like a human right now instead of like a gremlin in the dark. That is stressing my system out right now. Being around other people's energy stresses my system out. Like, we have so many things.
Unless it's us, right, Carolee?
But really, like, other people's energy taxes our nervous system. And, like, we never seem to allow for that.
For sure.
We never seem to. And it also energizes me. Like, being around you guys energizes me. But at the same time, I have to go, okay, let's have a balance here. Right? When my kids are screaming, because I've got 3 kids with special needs, when they're screaming at me, that taxes my nervous system. And I have to balance out the stressors in my life with anti-stress. And
What is it for you?
Anything that eases my stress. And it really has to be so personalized. If it's not easing your stress level, then it's not self-care. So if taking a bubble bath makes you feel anxious, like that would be me. Sitting in a bubble bath, I'm like, why is my bathroom not cleaner? I have to go scrub my tub. It is just, there's somebody left a Band-Aid. I'm freaking out. Right? Like, taking a bubble bath just is not anti-stress for me. Okay. Smelling candles, like, I don't know. There's just things that are supposed to be typically self-care that just don't work for everybody, right? If it's not actually helping you, then it's not actually self-care. One of the things that's my absolute favorite thing to do is to go to the movies by myself. But it has to be a really good movie. But I'll go, and then when I leave, I can tell that it was really good self-care because I feel lighter. My energy is like I'm glowing. Like I have the hugest smile on my face and I just feel like $1 bajillion. Like I just feel lifted because when I go to the movies with my family, I spend the whole time worrying about their reactions to the movie or that they are being really rowdy and disrupting the movie for other people. Right. So when I go by myself, I can't multitask because I'm in a dark theater. So I can't like worry about cleaning my house or getting other stuff done or whatever. Like I'm just enjoying what's on the screen, right? Like even a massage has an element of like the last time I had a massage, I fell asleep and I felt really bad. So like I've been putting up.
I almost did once before.
I've been putting off getting another massage. I almost did
once before,
because I like legit feel bad that I might do that again. And so like there's this back of my mind thing, like it has to be something that like is anti-stress and not adding stress on. And there's so many nuances of like things that might be actually adding stress onto you. So you have to really like find something that's like, okay, is taking a walk adding more stress to you? Are you actually like, or is there something that's just a little bit triggering? Like if it is, then analyze that. Go and be like, what is the resistance in my brain? Why is this a thing for me? But then don't use that as your self-care. Go deep and figure it out. But it's not self-care if it's causing you stress.
True. What about you, Geni?
So, well, self-care for me is taking time to be in the nature. Go to the beach, as Mary already knows, that spend some time in the nature is a big thing for me. And I like to dance. I'll go to Zumba. I actually got into enjoying lifting weights, believe it or not. You know why? Because it makes me feel stronger. It makes me feel like I can do now what I was able to do in my 20s. I'm a little older than my 20s, but hey, I can do the same things, maybe even more than I realized I could do in my 20s. Now I can see that I can do anything I choose to do. And that kind of brings me to summarize this whole conversation, which I love every one of you had important lessons and pearls of wisdom, and how our wisdom and our collective co-creation and collective energy inspire each other, how we feed off each other. And the thing that I will say in summary, you have to figure out what is it you want. As Mary would say, you're living in attention. What is it you want? Get clarity on that. Then connect, find a community, find the people that inspire you. And don't be scared to do whatever that you're uncomfortable with. That's how you grow. And it's okay to have a bad moment, a bad day, as long as you don't stay in that moment. Send a bad signal to your friends. And you know, at the end of the day, life is beautiful, life is precious, and we're all unique. Each one of us has the special gift and special talent. And if we don't get that out in the world, what will happen at the end of our life? We will have regrets. And I want to live my life without any regrets. I want to come to the end of my life knowing that I tried everything, knowing that I experimented and experienced everything I wanted to experiment and experience. You know why? Because at the end of the day, my soul will be singing, yes, and it's celebration. And our celebration is here because we did what we said we're going to do. And we're looking back on the last 12 months. What we learned is incredible. It was an amazing journey for me, and I wouldn't do it. I would never want to do it without you guys. And I want to thank you for adopting me. And I hope I did gifted you with my love as much as you allow me and my presence, and I will continue to do that. And I hope we will continue that journey for many years to come. And once a year, we'll have a celebration and share with the world what we created, what we learned.
Absolutely. Hey, before
who wants to take the
before
next?
before you stop, I want to hear the name of your podcast because we're going to share this on all of our shows.
Oh, yeah.
Geni's Way. Okay, so Geni's Way, GENI''S, Geni's Way. And you know how the name came out? Thanks for Carolee. Because I'm multi-passionate, just Jen was saying, like, I love to learn, and I know so many different things in so many different fields, but there's one common thing. There's more than one way to do things to accomplish the same result. That's where the Geni's Way came out. You can have Geni's Way, you can have Carolee's Way, you can have Mary's Way, you can have Alan's and Jen's Way. But you know what? It doesn't matter how you're going to get there. Our journey is beautiful and is perfect as long as we're going to live our dreams.
I love that, Geni. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you to the team here.
Elena, tell us your podcast name.
It's Women Behaving Boldly.
Woo! Ooh, are we behaving boldly?
Yes,
Ooh,
ma'am. Yes, we are.
Don't you all ladies feel like you're behaving boldly every single day of your life? Not every moment, but
not every moment.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Intentionally boldly. We will behave boldly when we intend to behave boldly.
That's it.
Carolee, what's the name of your podcast?
My podcast is the Multi-Passionate Mama Podcast because I, like you guys, I have a lot of things that I love to do, and I strive to show especially mamas that we can do all of it, and we can be successful at all of it, and we can make time for all of it, and it can all work. We are like diamonds. We are multifaceted.
Don't forget the self-care, right?
Yes. Well, and that's one thing that I'm passionate about, so it fits right in.
Jan, what
Mine is
about
called
you?
Shake Me Awake because I finally woke up to trying to live the life of my dreams and I can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you guys notice a pattern? There is an underlying theme in each and every one of the name of our podcasts. And of course, last but not least at all, Mayor, tell us the name of your podcast. And every name has a story behind it.
The name of my podcast is Connection Project 360. And the 360 is a circle. And so it's about, what's your intention? Plus connection. So intention plus connection times support equals a better life.
Better life. Aren't we here to celebrate better life and all the dreams come true? And as Mary and I had conversation the other day, what if our dreams could be bigger than we ever could imagine? Is it possible? We're here to tell you it is possible. Yes, my friends?
Yes.
Anybody wants to add anything before we end this amazing conversation, please?
Brilliant idea to have a celebration. Thank you, Geni.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was so much joy. Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you for having us. This was great. And I can't wait to do it again next year and see where we all go.
Carolee, anything?
No, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Who else? I don't
Thank
lift
you.
out anybody. Elena, anything else for closing?
I think we're good.
I want to thank you and
Yes.
thank you, our team, and for the listeners, just encourage them to pluck all the pearls that apply for them and just run with it. Go with it.
And run with it. And don't forget to take an action. Your success is one action away from taking that brave step and staying awake and connecting to the sunshine and being multi-passionate and know your true living intention. And that's from Geni's Way. Much love. I couldn't ask for better company to journey on my podcasting journey. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary on Geni's Way. This journey would not be possible without each of you who tune in, show up, and support us. Today, we'll learn from one another and recognize the courage it takes to embrace fear, show up imperfectly, and lean on the community. Remember, growth isn't about perfection. It's about progress, connection, and accountability. Here's to dreaming bigger, exploring new possibilities, and lifting each other higher. Keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. Until next time, see you.